The following presentation is brought to you by kmmedia.pro. Please visit kmmedia.pro for more information. Now stay right where you are as we present... Welcome to Positive Talk Radio, evolving ideas, one conversation at a time. Great guests, dynamic stories and interviews, plus new thoughts on a wide range of topics and concepts. I hope that you'll hang with me, Kevin McDonald, my friends, and of course, you. As together we work to understand why we are all here and what we can do to make our world a better place for all of us. To be happy, be kind, and live in peace together. Yep, that's Positive Talk Radio. And welcome everybody to Wednesday on Positive Talk Radio. I'm so happy that you're here. It's no, honestly, I really mean that. I'm happy you're here. It's nice for you all to be here. It's drive time in Seattle. Eric, how's traffic today?
Oh, well, you know, not so good.
Well, that from my perspective, that's better because that means they're in their car longer.
Well, that's true. And hopefully they're listening to the show today.
I hope they are.
I know you got a good one.
I do. I've got an author. He's a coach. He is really a lot of fun to talk to, and we have a really good time. He's also an athlete of sorts. He does all sorts of crazy
sorts.
stuff. Yeah.
Sorts.
He does crazy stuff that I would never think about doing. And Eric, have you ever done something called the Tough Mudder? Do you know what that is?
You know, I've heard of this. This is like a marathon kind of thing, my understanding, and kind of like an Ironman kind of thing. So, yeah, I've definitely heard of it. I, of course, am not an athlete of sorts, so I have not done that. But it definitely sounds like a good challenge.
Absolutely, and we'll have. G. Scott Graham, who is our guest for the entire hour today, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about anything else he wants to talk about, and he's promised me on threat of death that he's got some people that are going to call in, and so we'll put out the numbers right away just so that if you are streaming anywhere in the world, you can give us a call at 425-373-5527 or 1-888 if you are anywhere in the world. 1-888-298-5569. Mr. Scott, welcome to the show. How are you?
It's good to be here, and I have a message for your listeners. I triple dog dare you to call in. I had said to Kevin earlier in the call that when we were talking, I had told folks I double dog dared them, but I just ratcheted it up one level.
It's now a triple dog dare.
It's now a triple dog dare. And I just got to point out that for people that have seen me in other videos, I'm wearing a yellow shirt today because apparently in all my other videos, I'm wearing the same red shirt.
And this shirt has a snake on it.
This one, yes, this is the don't tread on me, bright yellow shirt. So,
and is that your state logo?
No, that's the thing that you see a lot of Tea Partiers. I'm not a Tea Partier, but it's like a Tea Partier thing. I got this in Williamsburg, Virginia. It was one of the original flags that was flown for the United States, and it's all about the "Don't Tread on Me" piece. Is really about taxation without representation. Because what we want is representation if we're being taxed, right?
Yes, and that was one of the reasons, though, that hence the Boston Tea Party.
Absolutely.
And other events that led to the Revolutionary War so that we would stop being called colonists and became citizens.
Exactly. Yeah, so I've been wearing this red shirt, and that's the fan mail I'm getting. I would like fan mail about any of my books, right? I've written all of these books. Are people writing me about the books? No, they're writing me about the color of my shirt. And it's just because I'm a guy. That's why. Because see, I live alone, and I have dogs, and the dogs don't really care whether I'm dressed or naked or whatever. And so I all my clothes live down in the laundry area. So I wash my clothes, I fold them, I put them in the laundry basket. And then when I get dressed the next day or whatever, I take the clothes off the top of the laundry basket and put it on because it's all in the laundry. I never go down to the bottom of the laundry basket. But I did today to get the yellow shirt so that my fans, the 3 of them, can message me and say, it's nice to see you're not wearing that red shirt.
Well, the sad thing is this is audio, so nobody can see you anyway.
They're all like, what's he talking about? Oh, man.
But it's really cool because you live on a nice farm, and you've got lots of animals, and you spend a lot of time taking care of your animals and writing books. You've got 16 books out there.
Yeah, I'm working on another one right now. So that's in the cooker. I've got about 5,000 or 6,000 words in it. I'm shooting for about 24. So I'm about a quarter. Yes, I'm doing my math in my head. I have about a quarter of the way done.
Now, this is a little longer than your typical book, isn't it?
Yeah, I try to do like 20,000 words. So this one's going to be just a little bit longer because I think being on your podcast and your radio show, and it's infected me because now I can't shut up. I just go on and on and on and on and on.
So can you give us a peek under the blanket? What's the book going to be about?
It's actually written for. The name of the book is Living the 8 Precepts, which people who are not oriented to a Buddhist life or Buddhist philosophy or meditation wouldn't really connect with or know about. But part of going on a meditation retreat, when you do that piece, and I've done a ton of different meditation stuff, is you have to make these precepts that you're not going to kill anything, and you're not going to swear, and you're not going to slander, and you're going to do all these pieces. And ongoing as a practice for meditation is integrating these in your life, but nobody tells you how to do it. They just tell you this is the precept.
But they don't give you any guidance, and there's no instruction manual that goes with it.
Correct. So this is kind of an instruction manual, but not so much of an instruction by me, more of an exploratory, because I'm a coach. So it's more of a piece of like, what do you need to do to live this precept fully in your life?
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, not only did he do the Tough Mudder, but he did something else recently that I don't know about that we're going to talk about in a minute. But he also, when he goes on a meditation retreat, he doesn't fool around. The meditation retreat that he does is, or has done several times, and I want to picture this, if you will, that you go someplace for 10 days and you don't talk to anyone at all for 10 days. There's no TV. There's no internet. There's no radio. There's nothing except you, yourself, and your thoughts. And that would be an amazing thing. And I know you've told me what you've gotten out of it before, but tell our audience, because there are people that are in their cars going, I might be here for 10 days trying to get home, but but I can't imagine being in a room on purpose by myself for 10 days and not talking to anybody. What exactly is that like?
It's hard at first, but it's easy because everybody that's at the center, everybody is also not talking to anybody. And people that have been on multiple courses won't even look at you. Like if you go to a door, like if 2 people are walking towards the same door and only one person can get through, they don't even look at you. One person will just stand to the side and stare at the floor or look out the window or whatever. And so it's easy to have that level of right speech, noble silence, because everybody's doing it. It's like if you were trying to run in a 5K. Yeah, any of you folks that are thinking, I need to get in shape. It's halfway through the summer and I'm not in great shape. You will have much more success if you find a group of friends that you can go running with than if you just go out there on your own, because those friends are going to egg you on, support you, all that type of stuff.
So now, while you're doing this meditation, are you in your room by yourself, or do you have communal meals and that sort of thing?
There are communal meals in the afternoon and in the morning. There's no meals after 12. or after 1, I should say, midday. And so you're trying to run on an empty stomach, not an empty stomach, but not, we really stuff ourselves in this society. And so, you're trying not to fill yourself up so that you're so tired and that you fall asleep. After you have done a number of the 10-day courses at many of the centers, not all of the centers, they have these, they call them meditation cells, which are really more like the broom closet beneath the stairs that Harry Potter used to live in. And it's dark. And there's no lights. There's just like a little night light that you flip on and then flip off. And after you've done a number of courses, they assign you a cell, and you can spend as much time as you want in the cell meditating. You don't have to be in the hall. So
if you're at one of the community meals and suddenly you have the urge, and so therefore you pass gas, are you not allowed to say, "Excuse me"?
Nope, nobody says anything if that happens.
Do they notice?
Oh yeah, I mean it has. I will tell you, I was in on a summer course and people were meditating, and there's like a couple hundred people in the room, and somebody at one end of the room farted. I mean, you could just hear it. And then somebody at the other end of the room, like that, did that. And you could just feel the tension go throughout the whole meditation hall. And then suddenly somebody went, try not to laugh, right? And then, boom, like the whole hall erupted in this raucous, hilarious. I mean, people were falling over. And the teacher who's in the front, I'm sure she wanted to, Lolly Pratt was the teacher, who's no longer alive, but she was a great teacher. She was very stern, be serious. This is serious time. She like a teacher in a classroom telling everybody to knock it off and get back to the history books. Right. But it was, that's their job, is to try to help maintain that cohesion. But yep, the whole course fell apart on that moment.
I can just only imagine. But at the end of the day, you got a lot out of these 10-day silent vigils or meditation. Yeah,
because one of the things that is true for, I bet, every single person here, especially in this day and age, is we are bombarded with information all the time. We have music, we have Pandora, we have CNN, we have this, and you really can't figure out what's going on when all this volume is going on. It's like coming in. It's like we live in a room with really, really bright light. It is so bright that you can't tell one color from another. The light is just blinding you because it's so incredibly blue. It's like, when you look at a headlight and at night and then you look away, it's hard to see what's going on. Right. That's the kind of life that we live with all of this information. And the silence pulls that away so that you can really do some work on the really crazy stuff, which is the voice in your head that says you can do this, or you should do that, or that should be this way, or this one. And the voice in your head that says everything will be great once this happens. If only my wife would do this, my husband would do that, my kid will do this. When I have this degree, everything will be great. When I move to Florida, everything will be great because I hate Seattle. I mean, whatever the thing is that's going through your head, it gives you a chance to work on that, which we don't work on because we're blinded by information all the time.
So you can actually then sit down and talk to yourself in a meaningful way and just kind of relax and be, and to clear your head, so that, because we do have voices that come to us from somewhere else.
Yeah, we do.
And so you can allow that to come through and get the all the dribble and the noise to stop a little bit.
Right. And the real peace with that voice in our head is not even to debate it, because if we debate it, we're just playing on the field that the voice in our head is playing on. And the real focus is to basically, just be there with the voice in your head and ignore it and just let it be. And then what happens, like, a spoiled kid in Walmart screaming and having a temper tantrum on the floor. If you did what my mother did when I was young and walk around the aisle and just leave me there, I'm going to stop crying and be like, oh, where'd you go? And I'm going to go find her, And so the voice in our head who is getting really pushy and having temper tantrums, when it's not getting fed with a debate or this or that, just quiets down.
And I really, yes, and I really love that you invoked the gospel according to Paul McCartney.
What is that?
Let it be.
Let it be. Yes, that's true.
For those of you, all right. For those of you under 40, Paul McCartney was a Beatle. He was in a rock band in the 60s, and they created a song called "Let It Be." And you recently may have saw it in the documentary that Peter Jackson did. And do you have
watch the documentary? You'll get the whole feel for it.
Exactly. Do you have bells in the background?
Right. Yeah, I do have bells in the background. Did you just hear it?
I did. So, but in any event, let's talk about the book that you got coming out, because I know you're doing a lot of research on it and stuff. What are the 8? I was going to say pillars, but that's not right.
So the precepts are basic. The precepts are are all about things that you're abstaining from. So you're abstaining from telling lies, you're abstaining from killing, you're abstaining from sexual misconduct, you're abstaining from there's a piece that is about abstaining from bodily decorations, adornments, and dancing. Which I think actually is the most important precept of all of them. I mean, I think that the other ones are important, but I think that one, especially now, is such a core piece for us here in the West. Because it's all written in that same light: abstain from this, abstain from that, abstain from this, and it doesn't really give you anything. Like someone says, "What do you mean bodily decorations? You mean tattoos? You mean deodorant? What does that? I don't know what that means." And so I explore what those pieces are and why they're important.
I was just thinking to myself that some of these are easier to do than others. For instance, I'm pretty sure, matter of fact, I'm darn sure I've never killed anybody. I'm really pretty sure that at my tender age that I'm not going to be killing anybody anytime soon. However, there's another one that said I shall not lie, or now that is something that's a whole lot easier to lie than it is to kill somebody.
Exactly.
And that is maybe something that we tend to fudge a little bit more, because it's like, well, it was just a white lie. I had an argument with somebody about that. I said, if you're lying, you're lying. And if you know you're lying, you're lying. So, but it was just a little white lie, and I didn't mean, anything. It's like, but white lies turn into big lies, and they keep growing. I give you an example. If your wife comes to you and says, "Do I look fat in this pair of pants?" and you say, "No, honey, you look great," and then she goes out and her girlfriend says, "Man, do you look fat in that pair of pants?" You're going to get caught in that lie, and it's not going to be good for you.
No, it is not. No, it is not. And you hit it right there, Kevin, when you said that these small things lead to bigger things and bigger things and bigger things. So it's not like the 10 Commandments type of thing. It's about being vigilant on these smaller things, these smaller issues that really are seeds. An oak tree does not start off as an oak tree. It starts off as a seed. Right. And then it grows from there. It has to be nurtured, and it has to be watered, and it has to be developed and protected so birds don't trample over it, or cows don't trample over it, and birds don't eat it. And so these seeds kind of fill up in our lives till we are like way off our path and not doing the things we need to do and want to do. We're not honoring our true selves. We're not honoring, what's right for ourselves and other people.
And that lying thing can really come back to bite you, because it may start out by you saying, I make more than I really make, and which might, in your mind, prove to not be very important, but I'm just using it for my ego's sake. And you go from, I make more than I think, then I make more than I actually make so that you'll think better of me, to, no, I didn't lose the election. Wait a minute. We went down the wrong path.
Yeah. See, and ultimately when you think about if you're trying to protect yourself, whether it's saying I didn't lose the election, or whether it's saying I make more than you, or whether you're fabricating some existence on credit that everybody thinks that, this is who you are. You're not lying and telling people you're rich, but you're, maxed out on all of your cards and living this life that's not really accurate who you are. I mean, what's driving that? The piece that's driving that is you are so unhappy with who you are and what you're dealt with in life that you're just full of misery. And so your only way to address the misery is to create this fabrication that you've won the election, or you've got a mansion and 3 boats, or whatever it is. And ultimately the root is this piece of unhappiness, because you're just grasping for something to make things better for yourself, and that never, ever, ever, ever works.
And you're even lying about the fact that you're miserable. Oh no, I'm fine. Everything's
yes,
good.
You're right.
But in fact, you're miserable. You're miserable, but you don't want to tell anybody you're miserable.
Right.
Because they may then turn around and say, hey, I love you. Why are you miserable? And, and then you have to explain yourself, and nobody wants to go down that road. Or so it seems. Now, you're a coach. Do you have a lot of people that don't want to go down that road, or do you drag them down that road?
Sometimes we drive them down that road. It depends on where they're struggling or where things are blocked. We live in a society where people don't like to talk about this stuff. We talked about it at one time. And part of me feels really bad because of my profession as a coach, because it's been created because our society has really gotten screwed up. When my mom was younger, if there was a problem, you went and you talked to your aunt and you talked to your uncle, or you had a conversation at supper, and you better be there for this conversation. Or, you came home and the neighbor yelled at you, and then, you came home and told your mom and dad that the neighbor yelled at you, and then your mom and dad yelled at you because the neighbor yelled at you. It was just a whole different world.
You must have done something wrong to get the neighbor to yell at you.
Yes. The community was such a resource. You didn't have coaches 100 years ago, counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, social work. There were none of those people. There might have been a couple, but it was really a piece for the rich and famous. Now there's counselors everywhere, and everybody's talking about their mental health issues. And, where did that come from? They came from the fact that, the supports that we had in the world have all been eroded. And now I'm taking the place of somebody's aunt.
Or trusted advisor or friend.
Right. Yeah, it's just a big shift, and it's unfortunate.
What really is sad that I see all the time is that most people don't have very many friends. They don't. Their sphere of influence is down to 3 to 5 people, maybe.
Right. And they measure their popularity and they source it out to how many likes they get on Facebook or TikTok. Right. And look how happy I am. And everybody likes me. You just go to look at Facebook. Right. If for those of you that are on there, if you can just step back, and even if you love Facebook and you're on there all the time, you have one of two types of things. Everybody posts how perfect their life is. They take 800 pictures on their vacation with their smartphone, and they post the 10 best photos from there. They don't post the pictures of the car overheating. They don't post the pictures of the loss. They don't post any of that stuff. It's my magical, perfect vacation. It's just like saying, right, it's my magic I won the election. And my life's perfect on Facebook. Then the other thing that you see people do is way on the other opposite end of the extreme, where they're just fishing for support because they're so miserable. So they write something like, I just don't think I can take it anymore. Or, yeah, I feel so alone. Nobody loves me. And then they get like a bunch of people that are like, I love you. I'm sending you hugs. I'm sending you, you're in my thoughts and prayers, and all this other horse stuff that,
yes.
I caught it because we're on live.
Eric, thanks you for that. Yes. We have a second delay, and by the way, just a real quick story. A while back on KKNW, I did a music show, and it was live, and I did some live stuff with some musicians. I may be the only host on KKNW that actually ran through the 7-second delay. There was a particular guy. He had an affinity for the F word. And so the way 7-second delay works is that if you say a bad word, he hits the button, and that takes that little snippet out, and now you have a 6-second delay. And then another one, then you got a 5-second delay and a 4-second delay. And so this guy said the F word so much that they ran out of delay, and the board op said, sorry, I've got to terminate the show. Click. Because it's a big deal if you FCC violations and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So thank you for that.
It was a close call. Yeah. But luckily, I've spent many, many, many days in complete silence, so I can catch myself when I do those things.
Do you find now that's a really good point, though? Do you find that because you've spent time doing that, and it's a skill that you've learned, that you are much more reflective in the things that you say before they come out of your mouth?
I am. I think that's absolutely correct. Especially when I'm talking to you on this show, I have to be really mindful because I don't know what piece we're going to talk about or what question you're going to ask me. And so, I am on top of my game when I'm on this show with you.
It is more fun than I can tell you that I get, because it's somebody who's as well-versed as you. And by the way, if you don't know who G. Scott Graham is, go to your website, which is
gscottgraham.com.
Hey, now that's complicated.
That's complicated. Easy find that piece, and you'll see all the different things that I'm working on and doing, and yeah.
And I love the he's written like 16 books, and they're all on different topics, and it's like something that will pique your interest, and you'll say, I'm going to write about that. And so you study on all about it, and then you write about it, and then you put out the book, and then you're on to something else.
I discovered the word that because in the past month I've started a little podcast.
Very nice.
Yeah, and so people have been writing me to get on the podcast, and this one person wrote me this really. It was like he pulled a thesaurus and took very simple words and made them really huge. Went and looked for the longest word for a synonym for that word. I had to read the email that I got from him 3 times. And he identified himself as a polymath. And I'm like, what is that? So he used so many words, I had to look him up. And polymath was one of the words that I had to look up. And I realized I'm a polymath. Remember I told you my friend said I was a placenta of information. We talked about that on one show. Yes. And I've discovered that I'm not a placenta. I'm a polymath. And a polymath is basically a person who knows a lot about different stuff in lots of different areas and has a lot of different interests.
By the way, our guest has been G. Scott Graham, and sadly, because he hasn't invited me onto his podcast yet, but I'm just kidding.
I'll invite you right after the show. You can.
Perfect. I just solicited my way onto your show. That's not very good.
That was skillful.
Anyway, go to his website. He's got lots of stuff. We've got lots more to talk about. I want to finish up with the 8, whatever it is you call them, and to talk about that a little bit more, because that really is interesting for me, because I think it's really is a important part of our times today, that I call it authentic grit, which is something that I'm working on, which is leading your life in a positive way that has a lot of grit to it because you're not going to accept anything else.
That's a great philosophy.
Isn't that cool? I made that up all by myself, kind of, sort of. There is no such thing as that, but in any event, we need to take a commercial break real quick. Can that way you can have you can have a sip of tea or something. I
will, and the people that are driving can turn their air conditioners up. I don't know if it's hot in Seattle right now, but
it is 77 and sunny, which is
gorgeous.
For us is like as hot as it gets, pretty much.
That's gorgeous.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, we'll be right back. We need to take the break, and we'll be back in like 2 minutes. So don't you go away, please. And if you're sitting in your car, just turn on your air conditioning and enjoy the show. We'll be right back.
Do you believe in the combination of brain work and spirituality? Her grace and sense of humor have made Allison Roberts highly sought after. She's a cognitive behavioral expert with natural intuition. Allison has guided thousands of people all over the world to find their internal power. Visit ALLYSONROBERTS.com for your free guided meditation today.
My name is Kevin McDonald, and I created Positive Talk Radio on KKNW 1150 AM. And if you like what we're doing here, evolving ideas one conversation at a time, we have so much more to offer you on positivetalkradio.net. Over 160 podcasts and growing. Great positive guests and many thoughts and ideas designed to help you and your family live life just a little bit better. You can even contribute to our work by becoming a member and receiving lots of cool stuff. Please check it out. I created PTR because now's the time for positive change, and nothing else matters. Again, visit positivetalkradio.net, and thanks for listening.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. Now through New Year's Eve, here's your exclusive bonus for being our appreciated listener. Type in promo code Positive Talk Radio at checkout to receive $20 off your order. Our gift to you for being here with us today. anaturaldesign.com.
Have you ever said, how did I do this again? Want to create your own powerful life? Well, Allison Roberts can help resolve the issues that keep repeating by creating a new outcome. She is one of the top 100 coaches in the world and will help you achieve your dreams. Email her at allison@allisonroberts.com or visit allisonroberts.com and receive a free guided meditation and discover all of her ongoing programs and events. And welcome back, everybody, to Positive Talk Radio. It's a Wednesday afternoon. We've got a great guest. He's an author. He's a coach. He's a really cool dude, and his name is Scott.
Which is his name is Scott.
How could I forget that? In any event, Scott, I got to ask you, because you're in the middle of writing a book, and a lot of it is got the, and I keep wanting to say pillars, but it's not pillars. It is
precepts
of really how you can live life a little bit better. And I wanted to follow up on the one that has me flummoxed the most, which is, why do people lie? What is the point? I don't understand it. I don't lie. I try very hard not to lie. But what is the point? Why do people do it?
Well, think about that for a second. It's people lie to protect themselves, protect their ego, protect others, avoid consequences. And it really comes down that one of the reasons that telling lies is one of the precepts is because that becomes a pivotal point for the two things that cause us misery, which is attraction and chasing after things, and aversion or pushing away things. We use lies when we don't want something bad to happen, and we use lies when we're hoping that something good will happen. It becomes our strategy to make things work out for ourselves. And that's really why that's a core precept to practice in our lives, because it protects us or it insulates us from those pieces, and it keeps us from looking at those. The issues isn't really lying, or the issue really isn't lying, I should say. The issue is the fact that we're grasping things, trying to hold on to things, or we're pushing things away, trying to get rid of things.
What is it that prevents us from, rather than lying, do what we say we're going to do and do it to the best of our ability? Why don't we do that?
Man, that's $1 million question. I think that, lots of people.
I have never seen that $1 million.
I'll send you the check after the show.
Thank you very much. It reminds me of the story of the guy who said, I want to take all my money with me. And so he died, and in his coffin, his wife wrote him a check.
There you go. I mean, now, speaking of your wife, so when your wife wore those fat pants and
Yes.
you told her she looked good, it's like, why did you say that I know you didn't tell her she looked good. It was just an example because, but
Why do you think I'm divorced?
So see, you see, I'm all flummoxed. I'm all turning red for the folks that are not seeing this on video. But you think about that example where you turn to somebody and they're wearing something god awful, and you say, "Oh, that's beautiful." Well, what are you doing that for? There's a motivation behind that white lie, to protect that person or to avoid an uncomfortable situation, and so that is the driver of these pieces. We're trying to protect ourselves. We're trying to insulate ourselves. We're trying to go after something. We're trying to convince ourselves we still won the election, because any other viewpoint outside of that is just too painful to swallow.
It makes it really, really tough. So what, of all the 8 precepts, which is to you is the most important?
I kind of mentioned this earlier, and that is the abstaining from sensual entertainment and bodily decorations.
Those are 2 in the same. That's the same
yes.
one?
So those 8 precepts are to abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual indiscretions, abstain from telling lies, abstain from intoxicating drugs and drinks, abstaining from eating after noon, abstaining from bodily beautifying the body and sensual entertainment, and the last one is abstaining from sleeping in luxurious, comfy, cozy beds.
So in other words, you're not going to have any fun at all.
Well, I know you are going to have fun. That's the driver. You just hit it right there, because the driver is that we're grasping to have these fun things. It's really clear when we think of like people who have cocktails after work because they're so stressed and they want to unwind, or they smoke a little pot, or they do a little of this, or they have, they're stressed out and they have some cigarettes. They're really using that as a tool to escape from what they're doing. They're pushing the negative stuff away, or they're off doing something and they want to really have a good time. So they they're after a better time, because this time isn't good enough, and it will be better after I've had a couple of gin and tonics and a couple of hits off a bong. It'll be much better. So they're chasing after something. And the same thing happens, can happen with sex. And the same thing happens with, how we just finished with Amazon Prime Day, right? All selling stuff. So who was it that said, we go into debt buying things we don't need to impress people we don't like, right? That's Amazon Prime Day, right? And
George Carlin wrote a skit about stuff. He said, we got to buy stuff because we got to have more stuff than our neighbor, and then we got to buy a bigger house to put our stuff in.
Right. And the core of that, remember I was talking about seeds earlier and the trees, the source of that seed that grows into this having the bigger house and all these other things comes with, well, we got to have this on, we have to wear these clothes or this clothes or that clothes. There was a time in America like 100 years ago, where everybody wore what we would look at and say god awful. Everybody was dressed in brown, frumpy clothes all the time. That's the way it was. You just wore brown, frumpy, horrible clothes. And then suddenly these marketers got out there and it was like, oh no, you have to wear this because you want to express your identity, your individuality, your personality, your femininity, your masculinity, and on and on and on and on it went. And that's the world we live in now. We are told that this is the way that we have to be, or this is the way that we will be. And when we're this way, we will be happy. And the truth is you won't be. You won't be.
But you don't, the insidious thing about that is, Scott, is that you don't realize that until it's way too late. You've already gone down that rabbit hole so far that by the time you figure out, I've got everything that I said I wanted, I should now be happy. I'll give you an example. I grew up in my brother's pants. Mm-hmm. Because he was 18 months older than me. I had hand-me-downs for my entire youth. And in those days, that's just what you did. Now, that won't fly. You can't do that anymore to a kid.
No. You're talking to the choir here because I'm wearing a different colored shirt for the first time in 4 days.
I have the same black shirt, but since I'm not in the studio and I can't be offensive to anybody, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right. Yeah, we get wrapped up into, it's on a show that for Gay Pride Month, talking about the gay community. And I said to somebody, I said, gay pride is just appalling to me. It is just appalling. It never used to be appalling. It was truly about celebrating who you are. But now everybody and their brother, after, it's like they serve green beer on St. Patrick's Day, even though no self-respecting Irish person would ever drink green beer. And then they will move over to Cinco de Mayo. And once the Mexican and Spanish stuff and tacos and tortillas are put away, they pull out all the gay pride flags because that's what you're supposed to do now. You can get gay pride vodka. Do you know that? You can get, what the hell does somebody have to do with gay pride vodka? Oh, did that just give me a bleep? Because I said the H word.
No. HE double hockey sticks is okay.
Okay. So, yeah, gay pride vodka. I mean, what does that have to do with it? Oh, my gosh. Google it. If you're driving down the road and you're stuck in traffic, well, not if you're driving down the road. If you're stuck in traffic, get out your smartphone and type in gay pride vodka. You will be horrified. And this year, all the marijuana companies are marketing as part of Gay Pride Month. You can get Gay Pride gummies because that THC is better than the other. And the gay community is the most. What's the word I'm trying to think of? They're the community that is most likely to get addicted. They are because of all the tragedies and struggles and things, they are, they've got an open wound that addiction fits in really nice. And so when I see vodka and marijuana and beer being marketed to the gay community as part of Gay Pride Month, it is just appalling. It's appalling.
Well, it's interesting because I've thought that for a long time, that the marketing that we all do, as an example, Christmas is supposed to be worshiping the birth of Christ. And so where did this Santa Claus come from? And Easter is supposed to be he rose from the dead. Where did the Easter bunny come from? And then you've got I used to hate those holidays like Valentine's Day. Come on. Mm-hmm. I was married for 20 years and I had to come up with something new every year for Valentine's Day. And if I didn't, I was in big trouble with of course, apparently I didn't do it correctly because I'm still in big trouble, but that's okay. But you know what I mean? It's all marketing. It's all, you now have got Thanksgiving stuff and Christmas stuff coming out before Halloween and stuff because it continues because it's all about the money.
Right. 10 years from now, you're going to see gay pride flags out at Christmas time because they're trying to sell it to you for June to get ready for that piece.
Yes. Well, the gay community has just joined the marketing blitz of America.
Yeah. It's already been tough for the gay community. If anybody pulls up a gay magazine and looks, there's, you're being sold underwear, you're being sold, in very dashing dudes that are wearing, next to nothing. So there's the right underwear to wear, the right socks to wear, the right pants to wear, the right cologne to wear, and on and on and on and on and on. And it's just a rackety sham. It's just appalling.
It's too bad that we had. You know what I would really like? I wish we had a national holiday where everybody stayed home and was with your family. That it wasn't like on Thanksgiving now. Some stores are opening up at 10 o'clock at night on Thanksgiving so that they can beat everybody else into Black Friday, which is the next day.
Right.
And stuff like that. But there's not one holiday where we all say we're going to stay home and we're going to hang out with our family today.
You're right.
Because
we need to blow up our TV.
Yeah.
Blow up our TVs, move to the country, eat a lot of peaches, like the song goes.
Exactly. And I really feel sorry for like a professional football player. Some of those guys, they play on every holiday and that they're in season for.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thanksgiving. There are 3 games on Thanksgiving so that the rest of us can sit there. But they're people too.
Right. No, I mean, it is this focus of like consumer and get this, right? I mean, think about Thanksgiving, right? What are we doing there? We're going out to get the stuff because if we get the right television at the right price, we will be happy. Just, it's the same thing that Amazon, feeds us for Prime Day,
Exactly. And now I don't know about you, but I've become a bit of a minimalist. If I haven't used it in the last 6 months, I don't need it.
That is a great story. I have a friend who was going through like boxes of stuff, and I said, just put it away in the garage in a box. And if you haven't gone to get it in 6 months, then you don't need it, or it's not important, or it's whether it's stuff that you need or papers that you need to sort and file. Just put them all in the box. And if you're like, oh, I don't need that, where is that? 6 months later, you can throw it all away. Because it's just not important.
And it's a freeing experience to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm fine wearing one red shirt. It's my listeners and podcast viewers that aren't fine with me wearing a red shirt.
Okay, so I got to ask you, though, because you're doing a podcast now. How do you like doing one?
It's really fun. They're really brief. It's not like your podcasts. They're very brief. It's 5 minutes long. People answer a very specific question, almost like the question that you posed about your philosophy for life. It's like, what do you do to live your true azimuth? Tell a time that you followed your direction, even though everybody was telling you to go this way. So it's kind of an inspirational focus where people were saying, go to the left, but by God, you knew you needed to go to the right, so you went to the right. And
yes.
Yeah, that's what it's about. A little 5-minute blurb every now and then to inspire people to follow their truth.
Describe azimuth. Azimuth. I can't even say it. Describe
Eric's bleeping you out because you keep saying that word now.
We're running out of 7
Azimuth.
Azimuth. Describe.
So azimuth refers to all the points on the compass. So there's 306. We'll do a math class because I'm a polymath. It's 360 degrees in a circle. And so you can go on an azimuth of 0, which is heading towards the north. If you go on an azimuth of 90 degrees, that's heading towards the east. And if you go on an azimuth of 180 degrees, that's directly south. The 270 degrees is directly west. But around the world, compasses don't point to the north. They point to a big magnetic deposit somewhere up in the North Pole that throws off the compass. So you have to adjust the compass so it's pointing in the correct direction and take in account of that magnetic ore, which is different wherever you're at on the planet. The adjustment in Boston is different than the adjustment in Seattle, because you're at different perspectives around that magnetic point that's pulling that compass in. So my whole point around this podcast is that we all have these magnetic pulls in our life. They could be our church, they could be our family, they could be our father, our mother, they could be our schooling, they could be our community. It could be that voice in your head that's saying things to you that you would never let anybody else in the world say to you. Those are all things that shift us away from where we really want to go. And so you not only want to figure out what direction you want to go, but get rid of all that other schlock so you are truly going in that direction.
And believe in who you are and what you're guided to do.
Exactly. So many people do not believe in who they are. And where does that come from? It comes from everybody around us telling us a bunch of hooey.
And hooey.
Eric's like, another one.
he's wandering over by the dump button just to be sure. But we do that. We are all Huey Meisters, because we spend a lot of time talking to ourselves differently than it's counterproductive to talk to ourselves the way we talk to ourselves. Don't you think?
Oh man, we would never. You people out there know this voice in your head. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm just going to ask you. You don't have to call in. You don't have to text me. You just answer this question to yourself right now. Think about the things that the voice in your head says to you. Would you ever let anybody else on this planet talk to you that way? Yes or no? That's the question. And the answer is probably no. I would never let anybody say the things that voice says to me.
Yeah, and then we honestly then believe that voice that has no basis in reality, because it's like, I think we've said it to you. If I'll just repeat it here just real quick. You don't know what your backside looks like.
That's absolutely true.
You can look in a mirror at your backside, but that's not how your backside actually looks, because it's backwards. So you really don't know what you look like, and so you're not in a position, even though you own it, you're not in a position to make a judgment about it because you've never seen it.
Right. Yeah.
I can't believe I said that. That actually made sense. That's pretty good.
That was very skillful. You should have a podcast.
I would love to have that in a radio show. As a matter of fact, if you go to positivetalkradio.net, you can find, and I said in the commercial that I had 160 episodes. Now I have 190. And so it's growing, and I've got 500 on another channel and stuff. So I've got 600, almost 700 podcasts up.
You do.
So, yes, indeed. And G. Scott Graham has been our guest. Go to gscottgraham.com. Find out all of his information. Buy his books. They really are good. They're terrific. We've just got 2 minutes left, and so I want to give you the opportunity for the audience that's listening now in their car sweating in Seattle, and the audience that's going to listen around the world when we make a podcast out of this. Give us some nuggets, something from you that they can carry with them.
I will give you something from Marianne, who's listening live in LA right now. And she is beyond inspirational, because she wants to be a court reporter, and she has been working to pass the stenographer's test, this little thing that you do at court, over and over. She is not letting her ups and downs around that dissuade her. And so if there's people out there that are struggling with following through with what you really want to do, don't give up. Ever, 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 ever. Be like Marianne, because what's life if you're not working to make yourself better.
And Bula. Thank you.
I did that. And I did it under time. The last time I was here, I went over. You were like, shut up.
No, you did awesomely well. And the fact of the matter is, that's what I call authentic grit, is that you believe in who you are, and you're not going to accept anything other than excellence, whatever that excellence looks like for you. And if you can do that and do it with kindness and love in your heart and take care of the people around you and be giving, and then you can have, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, you can have a hell of a life.
You can't. You just described Marianne to a T.
So Marianne, congratulations. You are my today's Authentic Grit Award winner.
There we go. Yes.
So thank you so much. And Scott, I got to tell you, I really enjoy our talks, and they're a lot of fun. I hope that everybody's enjoyed talking to you today through me, and listen to or go to gscottgraham.com to find out more information about him. Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Always. And by the way, take care of each other and be kind, because you know what? Each other's all we got. Take care. And we'll see you on Friday with Matthew Stapley, the psychic medium.